guys, so I swear when I go like 1 week without filming, it literally feels like a lifetime. So I'm back. I didn't post any other videos this week. We skipped No Makeup Monday, and on my horror channel, if you're subbed over there, a lot has happened since, you know, I filmed last. It's only been 1 week, literally I think 7 days. So let's catch up a little bit before we get into the video. If you don't care about my life, I will leave a timestamp here. Just go to this time, and that's where the actual video will start of the psych concepts that will also blow your mind. This is part 2, by the way. If you haven't seen part 1, I will link it up here. But first, we're gonna catch up a little bit. I didn't want to do a whole dedicated video to the updates about my life and stuff because it's only a few things, but I recommend watching them because it's very interesting. Firstly, I just want to say that my merch is live. This is actually round 2 of my merch, actually. The first batch sold out really fast. I had only announced it on Twitter. I was only able to announce it on Twitter and Instagram because it sold out in 3 hours. But round 2 is up and there's more units available, bigger sizes. So if you want to buy my merch, I will have a link to it down below. It does ship internationally, by the way, so don't worry about that. But also the new update in my life, I got a job. That's so weird. It doesn't even feel really like a job because it's super part-time. I get to work with the guy that I'm working for and like the company. I get to work with them to develop my own hours and like kind of give him my availability and stuff, so I can still do YouTube as well, which is super nice. It's pretty part-time, although right now I'm getting a lot of hours because there's a lot of stuff. Basically, I'm an assistant. I'm a fashion assistant, and so there's a lot of stuff built up over the months that needs to get done sooner than later, so I'm doing more work now than I will be in the long run. I'm not going to give too much information about the company or what I do or anything like that, just because it's kind of a different part of my life. Like, I'm kind of, you know that I was trying to get a job and move on with that part of my life. I need to, obviously this isn't in psychology by any means, but it is a good first step into getting back to a schedule and the working world and doing stuff outside of my house and outside of YouTube. No offense, I love you guys. But I am going to still be doing YouTube and everything, even with this job, because it is part-time. And, you know, like today I'm going to work, but I'm not leaving the house until 12, so I get to film in the morning. I'll probably come home and upload this when I get home. And so, yeah, it's different. I've only worked 1 day. Yesterday was my first day, and yeah, it's been a lot of anxiety for sure. Oh my God, if you've been around me this last week when I've had the phone interview, then the in-person interview, and then my first day, all of those things anxiety ridden. Like I get really nervous, as you guys know, looking for jobs. And so to get hired, like pretty much on my first interview of what I applied for is pretty weird and really good for me, because I feel like, I mean, regardless if I got it or not, it's good experience to at least interview, but to have gotten it and then started already, and it's just like a really chill job. Like it's really laid back, and like, you know, the work's really fun for me. I love what I'm doing, just being an assistant and organizing things. I mean, it's great. This last week was still an adjustment period week for me for sure, because with my anxiety, I couldn't just sit down and film something. Like if I had an interview that day or the next day, it's just, I can't just sit down and pretend to be normal. I have to kind of dedicate my whole day to my anxiety, which sucks. I hate how debilitating it is sometimes. But now that everything's kind of getting settled, I can film again and get kind of on a schedule. So I'll still post my weekly videos for you guys on both my horror channel and this channel, obviously. My No Makeup Mondays still gonna be a thing every single week. Yeah, hopefully I can get everything, like my life, organized a little bit, and we can get back to, you know, regular programming. Speaking of regular programming, let's get on with the video, shall we? As I said, this is part 2 of the psych concepts that'll blow your mind and change your life. So if you haven't seen part 1, go over here. One of the biggest criticisms of that video is that you've heard of them all, which I get it. These videos are kind of for non-psych students, but I forget a lot of you guys are psych students because you like psychology, so you're watching my videos. Anyway, hopefully okay, well, I'm doing 3 today. One of them you for sure heard of. Hopefully the other 2 are ones you have not heard of. I don't know. Maybe you have. If you are a psych student, you probably have, or if you studied social psych at all or anything like that, or biopsych, you probably have heard of these, but hopefully at least one of them new to you. First thing we're going to talk about is memory. Obviously, memory is a very intense subject when you really think about it, because your whole life is your memory. Like, everything about you is your memory. So without it, you are not yourself. And so for me, it's a very fascinating concept, and just the facts behind it is so scary. So with memory, the concept that blows my mind is when you like how my voice was correct, when you remember something, you're actually remembering the last time that you remembered it and not the original event. Does that make sense? Let's delve into that a little bit better. Okay, so Northwestern medicine study looked at 70 people's brains while they were remembering an event, and it actually shows that the brain networks change whenever you remember something. So your memory of something in your past is actually not as accurate as when it first happened, because if the brain networks are changing, sometimes the details can change, or just little small things. And if that happens, it's kind of like the game of telephone. If that happens so many times, you constantly are thinking about something, sometimes it can change completely to be a false memory. So when you're recalling something, you may be accessing information that you retrieved at a later time and not from the actual time of the event. Also, memory is not like a video camera, and it's actually not that accurate to begin with. So are our whole lives a lie? Probably. The next one you've definitely heard of, but it's also a very fascinating concept that when you think about it, it could really change your behavior, and if you're aware of it, hopefully it can save some lives. It is called the bystander effect. I think we've all heard of this, honestly. It's basically, the standard definition is people are less likely to help someone if there are more people around. What started this concept was a murder that took place in 1964 of a woman named Kitty Genovese in New York City, and did I say that already? She was stabbed to death outside of her apartment while everyone watched. No one stood in, no one did anything. And you would think, oh, I would definitely help. Of course I would run in there and try to stop them. But would you really? It comes down to two things. Diffusion of responsibility, which is basically when we think, well, there's more people here, someone else is sure to help, I don't need to. And then no one ends up helping. And also social influence. So we often look at others to determine how we're supposed to react. So we view their body language or how they're reacting to determine how we're gonna react to a situation. So if they're not doing anything, you're probably not going to do anything. That's pretty messed up, right? You could actually watch someone die and no one does anything because of this effect. And the last one is pretty interesting, okay? You're probably gonna be like, I don't believe you. So cults have been a thing on YouTube. A lot of people like to do videos on cults and things like that. And you probably think to yourself, well, those people are stupid for joining a cult, or they're crazy, right? Well, that's wrong. And what if I told you that most people would actually join a cult? If you were in the right place at the right time, at the right life event, in the right situation, you would join a cult, trust me. There have been studies done that show that cult members are actually just as intelligent and sane as just regular people out in the world, not in cults, and they actually don't have a background of psychological problems. It really comes down to the fact that we're social animals, that we will do anything to fit in, and that's why we'll often mimic others' behaviors, such as yawning or laughing without even thinking about it. And also we'll dress like our friends, act like our friends, we're just, we like to fit in. We don't like to be the oddball. And even if you say that you do, generally you probably don't. Your subconscious and your internal instinct is saying do not be an outcast. Cults, what they'll do is usually find someone who is maybe a little bit reserved, or they're in a moment of weakness, such as when they move to a new city and they don't know anybody, or they're going through a breakup and they're emotional. These kind of things, they kind of prey on these people. So if you're ever in that situation, you are the perfect target for a cult leader to come to you and convince you to join their cult. But obviously it's not all on you. It's not all innocent. Cults have a very manipulative process to getting members to join. They'll persuade you, they'll reprogram your world and how you see it, and they'll exploit you. And so you're asking, well, then why do they stay if they can see that and recognize that that's what's happening? It could be a couple of things. First of all, my theory could be a little bit of cognitive dissonance. They're trying to justify their behavior. We've talked about that on my channel before, but it could be a little bit of trying to justify, they know it's wrong, but they're going to justify it extra a lot because they want to know that they're doing the right thing. Also, they've befriended other members and even the leader, and of course if their family or their friends, which they're supposed to have no contact with, but if they do go home or something to say, look at this amazing world I'm a part of now, and they get made fun of, they're going to come to the defense, and then they're going to seem like the crazy ones. I hate using that word, but that's not my word. That's other people's words for cult members. And of course, they could be a little bit brainwashed, because that's kind of what they do. Once they, you know, sink their teeth into you, they will manipulate you to believe that this is an amazing world. And honestly, sometimes they're very appealing. Anyone watch The Path? Simple life, simple, you know, job duties, like it's just a simple thing, and that seems so appealing to people who are stressed out or have anxiety about certain things that, you know, that seems like a great opportunity to just let go of some responsibility in your current life and adopt a new life. So don't be so quick to judge people who join cults, honestly. So there you have it. There's my life updates and a little bit of weird psychology concepts that hopefully at least one of them you hadn't heard of, and now your mind is blown. Please leave some more requests down below of psychology videos you want me to do, any kind of videos you want me to do down below. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.